call the meeting to order, please. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just 2 points of housekeeping. Please check your phones. And secondly, after one case is heard, that case may go home. You do not have to stay for the entire session. Okay, first of all, I need the approval of the agenda, please. And let me add an addendum to this. This is the town meeting of the Town of Ocean View Board of Adjustment. Please, may we have approval of the agenda?
I move the agenda be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion has carried. Approval of the minutes of February 16, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Mr. Simino, are you doing this or?
Yes,
Okay.
no one else here. Madam Chair,
Okay.
you ready?
Yes, we are ready.
So, Mr. Semino, are you also going to be giving your comments?
Yes.
All right, so then if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is swear in you and our town clerk, and do you both swear to tell the whole truth before this proceedings today?
I do.
Yes.
Okay. And Madam Clerk, have all notices been sent, all advertisements and sign postings been made with respect to these proceedings?
Yes, they have.
Thank you. Mr. Semino, carry on.
Thank you, Solicitor. Application V444 is submitted by the property owners Glenn and Deborah Merkling for property zone R1, single-family residential district located at 8 Winchester Drive, PIDN 004.920, county tax map number 134-12.00-1810.00. Property owners are seeking a variance from Article 5, Section 140-32, which requires attached accessory structures to maintain the same front yard setback as the principal structure in order to construct a porch addition that would encroach into required front yard setback of 25 feet. I believe we'll go through the variance application and the questionnaire that was filled out by the property owner. I'll start with number 1, uniqueness. Do you have a unique circumstance or condition such as size, irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of lot size or shape, or exceptional topographical or other physical condition peculiar to the property? If so, please explain. Narrow lot, the applicant writes, narrow lot, the front setback is 25 feet. The position of my house limits the size of my front porch to only 5 feet. Not enough room to enter the front door easily. B, is there exceptional practical difficulty due to such unique conditions and not related to general circumstances or conditions? If yes, please explain. The applicant writes, yes, disability. My spouse has difficulty entering the front door. She has limited movement due to previous back, neck, and shoulder injuries. This is not something that is unique or exceptional to the lot itself, such as size, irregularity, narrowness, shallowness, so on and so forth. Number 2, possibility of development. Can the property be developed in strict conformity with the zoning ordinance without a variance? If not, please explain. The applicant writes, frontage is too narrow, front porch needs to be wider, so movement will not be hindered, especially when carrying things in and out of the front entrance. B, is the variance necessary to enable reasonable use of the property? The applicant writes, yes, entry into the front door of the house is too narrow. 3, has the difficulty been created by the applicant? If not, please explain. No, the current entrance was as is, when the property was purchased. 4, effect on surroundings. A, will the variance alter the essential character of the neighborhood? The applicant responded, no. A similar variance was already approved 3 houses away from mine, although I don't know which house, which direction, which side of the street. Their front porch enhances the house and adds character to the neighborhood. B, will the variance substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use for development of the adjacent property? No, my variance request is only 5 feet on the front of my property. C, will the variance be detrimental to the public welfare? No. Everyone I've spoken to, including the owner of the house that was already approved for a similar variance, agrees. The improvement will enhance the property and the neighborhood. 5, extent of variance. Will the variance represent the least modification possible of regulations at issue? The applicant responded, yes, my variance request is only 5 feet, extending the porch to allow maneuverability when entering the house. B, is the variance necessary to afford relief? Yes, this will provide much needed space to maneuver and provide an area to put things down to be able to open the door without difficulty. C, will the variance represent the least modification possible of the regulations at issue? Yes, only 5 feet needed to alleviate difficulty entering the property. Special use exception does not apply. The town does have comments, Madam Chair, with respect to this application. I would like to address extent of the variance. Question A, will the variance represent the least modification possible of the regulations at issue? The existing front porch is 10 feet wide and 5 feet deep, is photograph attached, and lies within the building envelope with additional area possibly available for improvements. Extending the existing porch to 12 feet deep will cause an encroachment into the front yard setback by 4.8 feet. The Office of Planning and Development does not recommend approval of this variance request.
Okay. Gentlemen, questions?
Okay, when was the property purchased? How long ago? Do you know?
August of last year.
I'm sorry, last year?
Swear him in.
Excuse me, Mr. Douglas. He has to be sworn in.
Sworn in, I'm sorry.
Madam Solicitor.
Mr. Merkling, are you Mr. Merkling?
Yes.
Hi, sir. Would you please identify yourself and by name and address, and then I'll
Sure.
just swear you in.
Glenn Merkling, 8 Winchester Drive, Ocean View.
Thank you. Mr. Merkling, do you swear to tell the whole truth before the board today?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, repeat that. My question to you is how long ago was the property purchased?
It was purchased in August of last year.
August of last year.
Mr. Merklin, is your wife in a wheelchair or with walker?
No, but
with-
right now she's been through 3 surgeries already, none of which have been able to take care of the problems. Now she's starting to have problems with her legs. So my biggest issue is if in the future I'm gonna have to put ramp in, that porch is not going to be able to support that ramp.
The reason being,
Her legs are starting to get
no,
that.
not her personal book, the reason being
Oh, it's the
why
size.
cannot the size
Yeah.
of that not support a ramp?
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it wouldn't be enough to have 2 people go up that side of that house, of the entrance way, the porch.
Can I ask Mr. Simmons a question, please? Yeah. This major objection to this has to do, obviously, because it's going into the setback 4.8 feet, correct, in the front. That would leave, if I'm not mistaken, like 20 feet left from the porch to the
20.2.
20.2, right, 20.2 to the setback, right there. This, and again, you have no knowledge of any other properties that have been approved by, in this area regarding that kind of request into the setback in the front of the house in the area?
Not that I recall, I don't know which property the gentleman's referring to and when that was approved. I've been here 5 years, doesn't mean that I remember every variance hearing I've sat on.
Yeah, I don't know the address, but it's down the street from me, about 4
Yeah, so I couldn't tell you, was that porch covered, was it uncovered? There's a difference.
It's definitely covered.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
other
can't answer that
circumstances.
question.
Okay.
Sir, your wife has had several surgeries and
Yes.
injuries. Were those injuries and surgeries prior to you buying the home last
Oh,
August?
sure.
Okay, so you were aware at the time you bought the house that these difficulties had existed with your
Sure.
wife?
The plan always existed that I'd be extending that. The poor child didn't know at the time of the setback.
Okay.
So via this picture, you have a small receiving area before you open the front door.
Correct.
Because one of your comments was to put packages, groceries down
Correct.
before you open the door. And you do not feel that there's ample space to
Absolutely
do
not.
that?
Absolutely not. I mean, I think I saw you on my ring doorbell yesterday, and, I mean,
Yeah.
you're half our age, you can open the door, and you can walk in the door, I get it.
Yeah, we were there, I was doing the overview on Tuesday, I believe it was, and we measured, because it wasn't on the plan.
Hmm.
The existing wasn't on the plan. I said, well, let me go out and take a look at this and see what it is. The existing is 5 feet wide, like 5 feet long, like 10 feet wide. The door's a 36-inch door. You open the door up 36
Yeah,
inches.
you got this
You
much
have-
room to move.
You have 2 more feet where you could walk between the door or whatever. I'm not a licensed professional land surveyor, and all we did was pull a tape off an existing stake that was out there and do some math based on the drawing and what we saw. It looks like Mr. Markland could potentially extend this porch out another 2 feet and remain in the setback.
Okay. I'm thinking that would still go into the 25 feet, yeah.
No, it would be at the setback. If our measurements, eyeball measurements and crude math is correct, there's not a lot of detail to your plan, but it appears that there may be about, if it's 5 feet and you're gonna go to 12 feet, that means you've got a 7-foot extension. Right? You're going 12 feet out.
It's 12 feet wide across the front of the house, this way.
You're gonna go 12 feet, see,
10 feet.
that wasn't dimensioned either, so we're just guessing. So he has no room. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the drawing was dimensioned, but it didn't say which way was
Ah,
10,
I
which
got
way was 12.
Yeah, it's going, today it's 10
Yeah.
feet, we're going to 12, which is just gonna make it symmetrically
Yeah.
appropriate
Okay,
for the
so,
house.
there would be 0.2 feet left for him to go out. Yeah, we couldn't tell from the drawing. If you look at the drawing, it just says 10 by 12, each side of the drawing. It's not labeled, this side's 10 feet and this side's 12 feet. So we didn't know which side was which. And that's why I said there may be additional.
Yeah, we're not
So
pushing
he
out.
doesn't have any additional room.
So if he went 12 feet by 7 feet and he added 2 feet as opposed to a full 10-foot, will he still be in the setback?
He will be 2.8 feet into the setback instead of 4.8
Okay,
feet.
so he's at the.
No, he'll still be 4.8 feet, that's your measurement.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go 10 feet off the front door, towards the street.
Right.
Right now, I'm 4 or 4.8 or whatever it is.
Madam Solicitor, may I ask Mr.
Oh,
Blackburn to
please,
come up
you can
and-
ask whatever questions you want.
Want to come up here? For the three of us, I don't care whose picture you use, so show us which way you're going.
Okay, I'm going this way, sorry.
Which way do you have? This way.
Right, and that's towards the street.
Fourth Street.
Okay, so you're going out
Yeah, it's this way. Out.
this way, okay.
Yeah, this is the
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would like.
This way is, we're not touching this way.
That's right.
We're going that way out.
Right. 10
way, coming
feet
out this way, okay, but
You're
you're
not
extending from the from the door out.
Yeah, from here to out here.
Right, that's,
Like that
that was,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Mr. Merkling, if I may ask you to illustrate that for me too. Sure. This dimension here is going to be 12, and this is going to be 10?
So we're really going to.
And that's only adding 5 feet.
Street. He's going to-
But we measured from your house out to the stake that's in your yard, that measured 25 feet. Something's not, that's it.
Then I agree with you, because when they came out to check this, they said the setback was at the current, the existing, I'll call it, railing.
But I'm saying he
So
would
5
like to go
feet
through
would
the
be past the
process
railing that's there.
to do that. If we-
So considering the probability, as you expressed it, that your wife's physical condition will deteriorate to the point where you'll need to put in a ramp, have you considered putting in the ramp or looking to do that now?
I don't know if I need it right now. I mean, it could potentially get to that point.
So it could, or,
Excuse me, just go back to, the-
yeah, we want
Sorry, yeah.
to,
We
this
wanna
is
be
a
able to hear-
recorded
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
event,
Yes.
and we want to have the record as clear
No,
as
it's
we
fine.
can.
I want to clarify, Mr. Semino, so are our calculations in error, do we think?
You know, I'm looking at the drawing, and they're showing the setback line, that's 25 feet. But, I mean, the calculations that he's showing on here are not errant. Unless the stake that we measured off of, and so we were just, because this is poorly done by True North, there's information that's missing. We did 2 measurements. There's this stake still out there on the far end of your property, facing your house to your right.
Mhm. Yes.
So we looked at that and we measured in, and that seemed to, that hit the house, I recall. And then we measured out from your door out, and that took us out to the back side of your trees, which were pretty much in line with that stake.
Yeah, give it, yeah.
And so that's why I think that there's a discrepancy here.
They actually put those stakes, True North put those stakes in.
Yeah,
Now, whether or not they're appropriately in, who knows, I don't know.
yeah.
So I'm wondering, would it be better for the applicant if we deferred this and we got the measurements correct and he came back next month?
I would
And
think,
I'm not, I mean, you don't have to do
you don't
anything,
have to
I'm
do
just trying to
anything.
figure out how
And
to,
I know you're wanting to build your deck,
Right.
and I do know we have a 3-person panel here,
Mhm.
and you will require a unanimous yes to get your variance.
Right.
But something's not, to me, adding up, or there's not enough information on here. Jill, do you recall when we measured off that stake? Where did we end up? When we measured off that stake, did it bring us to the front end of the porch? But then when we went 25 off at the house, yeah, we measured the stake and it went to the front edge of the porch. But when we measured off of the house, it went to the back of the trees, and the trees aren't even shown on here.
No.
You know,
I understand that you have a contractor ready, willing, and able to
Yes.
proceed with this immediately, deposits and materials and all that kind of stuff. I'm loath to hold you up or to deny, but gosh, I'm not sure that the vote would carry on your behalf if we took it now. And I think I'd be more comfortable if we had clearer view of what the measurements were.
are you here this weekend, or next week, or anytime, or
I'm only
tomorrow?
I'm only here until Saturday morning.
Okay, you're here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that myself and Mr. Merkman could I could meet him at his house tomorrow. We could pull,
3:19 p.m.
trying to
Good to know.
figure this out. We can assume that one stake is still good, you haven't disturbed it.
Yeah, well, I haven't, so,
Right, it's in the ground. We could probably pull a 25-foot tape, measure back, see where it lands,
okay.
and verify this. And then, I don't still think that's gonna get us to being able to approve anything with conditions. I mean, I think it would still mean coming back next month.
So, Mr. Merkling, your options are you can proceed with a vote tonight, okay, or you can defer and you and Mr. Simoneau can coordinate and get the measurements together. And it's possible that there may be a lesser variance that will get you either a lesser variance, or you might not need one. You might be able to get 2 feet and still be within the required setbacks. I think it would require, updating this plan a little bit. Was this done specifically for this improvement?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on there.
Yeah.
Where we can go with what you're saying, that you think this is accurate, and, the front of the porch is 5 feet, that isn't the front of the building setback, and you need the additional 4.8 feet to let them vote.
So essentially, you think this plan is accurate. You think you need 4 feet. All right.
Yes.
So, if you feel this is accurate, basically, he needs 4.98 feet.
4.8 feet.
4.8 feet, a variance for 4.8 feet, because you'd be in the setback. So it's your call.
Based on the extenuating circumstances in which, my wife getting in and out of the house, I'm hoping that this is enough to just grant to approve this variance of 4 feet.
I can't speak for the other members, but I would say that, given the fact of what you described, and you're anticipating at some point that your wife is going to be immobile, if you were considering this with a ramp for the future, that to me would be an extenuating circumstance, to me. I'm not sure I see it now at this point.
All right, well,
Do you have anything?
I do, actually, before you go forward,
Sure.
I do recall Ms. Oliver and I measuring this, and we went off the stake and on that far corner, and it does line up at the front of the existing porch.
okay, so it is a 4.8
It is
feet is what
4.8. Yep,
So he needs a full
he
4.8.
needs to pull 4.8.
So this is your decision if you want us to make a commitment or a decision today, or you can check with True North to make sure these are accurate.
we already know it's accurate, so.
Okay, yeah.
Based on that, based on the extenuating circumstances, I'm looking for your approval to just move out 4.8 feet of the front of my house. That has nothing to do with encroaching on anyone else. I've spoken to neighbors in my, just neighbors across the street from me and down the street from me, and each and every one of them are a positive response,
They have no
right?
objection.
No objections whatsoever. All right, and if nothing else, it's also, it's gonna make it a lot easier for my wife to get in and out of the house, putting packages down, whatever it is, as well as, beautifying the neighborhood. It's gonna make the house look a lot better, and it's gonna, of course, improve the neighborhood itself. So, I know that's not a reason for the variance, but more so for giving my wife the ability to get in and out of the house quickly.
Okay, Madam Solicitor, my question would be, let's just go ahead 5 years and say that had to be a ramp put in. Will that ramp be automatically?
Well, you could also, if you're going to grant this variance, condition it that he can't make any more improvements without coming back. Or he couldn't put a ramp on or whatever without coming back.
Without coming back to us.
Yeah.
Okay, I want Mr. Methuen to understand that when time comes to put a ramp in, that you must return.
Because it would be expanding the already non-conforming issue.
I got you.
Yeah, so it might be a choice, which is a very difficult choice, to say, I want to do it now with the steps, but heaven forbid, in 2 years, I may have to put a ramp in.
Then I just have to come back here
And
as
you
a
get
variance just to
another
do
fee.
That's just again,
To go through the same process you're going through now, and incur the same costs that you're incurring now.
Of course, it's not the issue. You know what, let's just go for the vote now with the steps as is, and if I have to come back, if a ramp is required, then I'll come back at that point in time.
All right, Madam Solicitor, any other questions?
I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Simino, any other questions, comments?
No.
Gentlemen?
No.
Okay, so we need,
Mr. Merkling, are you done with your presentation?
Oh, yeah, pretty much, so, yes.
I'm looking for the number. Yeah, V444, is that that's the variance request?
Yes.
I move non-approval of the variance for V444. I make a motion.
make a motion, please, of
Non-approval.
non-approval.
It's moot then.
Yeah, we can't do anything other. Is that-
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we neglected one thing. Do we have any public comment, in the audience that wants to publicly comment on this application? Go ahead. And you need to come up and state your name
And be sworn in.
and be sworn in. State your name, please.
Randy Robust on Winchester Drive. I've only known him and his wife a little while, but I knew that when they bought the house, it was a little
So,
dilapidated.
Mr. Robust, you promised to tell the truth before you promised to tell the truth before the board today?
We're swearing you
You
in.
have to be sworn in.
Oh, swear.
You swear to tell the truth before the board today?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, sir.
Anyhow, like I said, the place was a little bit run down, and anything he's done to, I know rules are rules, and I'm not bending or arguing on that effect. But everything he's done to the house looks great, and I live right across the street. And I even said to him, when he bought it, when he was suggesting that he was going to change the front, I said, that would look great, because what is there now doesn't look nice as what the house is being done outside, around the yard, the whole 9 yards. I mean, he's put a nice driveway in, he's remodeled inside, he's did a lot of work on the outside, the flowers, and actually getting rid of about 10,000 flowers, but at any rate, he's done a good job, so I'm not worried that he would be making anything or being an eyesore. And I understand what you're saying, but he's did the top shelf stuff as far as I'm concerned. He's redoing the whole back for his wife to make it easier for her in the back, and also, I know the rules are rules. I already approved the variance 35 years ago, you know, because I was a neighbor. And just have to look at it like that. You know, we're all getting older. Nobody wants to look at the perspective of a possible ramp in front of their house. But I look at it this way: spend the money now, next time when she might need it, 5 years down the road, the way inflation is, it's going to be a whole lot more than it is now. I'm not saying to change your mind. I'm just saying that everything he's done, from my opinion, has been good stuff. So that's it. I swear that's all.
Thank you, Mr.
We
Robust.
haven't made any choice, we have not made any
Okay.
votes. Okay,
A vote isn't necessary.
no, it isn't.
Well, we
Well,
had
you
public
don't have-
comment, so
don't have a second.
if we're gonna need to
No, it hasn't been
reintroduce the
seconded.
motion, if,
It hasn't been seconded, so we.
The,
Okay.
the basic problem that we have as the Board of Adjustment and your neighbors is we care and we're concerned for you and your wife's well-being. On the other hand, we're sworn to follow the rules as carefully as we possibly can. There are very limited reasons for us, or a limited opportunity for us to bend the rules. And this is a difficult one. And we've had a motion to deny. We're a board of three. We have to have unanimity for us to approve something. And I'm sorry, I feel that we are in a position now where we've not had that standard met. And I'm just sorry that I had to second the motion.
Madam Solicitor, Ken had a question.
Mr. Simno.
Could I ask one question
Sure.
of Mr. Murphy? Would an additional 1 foot accomplish, I know 1 foot isn't a whole lot,
Yeah.
but that gives you 60, would that?
I don't know what that's gonna do, because I was thinking about just like putting a bench or something that you can just lay whatever you're carrying down, open up the door, and then be able to get in easily. Whether or not that would be enough room to put something there, to accommodate that, I don't know.
Possibly a corner bench that would be out of the way.
It would, going past the door would be useless, right?
No, I mean, up front, towards the front
Up here.
portion, in that front corner.
Here.
Maybe a corner bench there might work, come up,
Here.
set the stuff
Over
out
here.
the door. I'm wondering if you could, if an additional foot would be helpful to you.
Sure. I mean, I think, well, definitely, yes. It would be helpful, and, like I said, it'd have to be something small, and it's certainly not going to be, I think, as beneficial, but at the same time, as long as we could put something down, get in the door, and then be able to go in from that point.
I'm gonna clarify, when you say 1 foot, are you talking about, not going out toward the street, you're talking about going
Going out to the street,
to the street, okay?
1 foot.
So instead of asking for a 4.8
Eight.
foot variance, he would be asking for a 1 foot variance.
That's correct, okay.
that's correct, which then turns it into an administrative variance. He would defer this meeting and withdraw his application.
Well, also he could, the board could agree if he wants to amend his application.
Yes,
If you want to amend your application, that would, for a 1 foot variance, then we could have the board decide whether they were willing to grant a 1 foot variance under these circumstances.
Would that be done today?
Yes,
Yes.
we could do that today. And as I said, they need to be careful about the precedent they're setting, right? And everybody wants to work with you, and if there weren't rules, everybody would, they want to give you what you want and appreciate that you're trying to improve your home. But we have setbacks for a reason. I guess the question becomes, did you want to amend your application for a 1 foot variance to extend the deck out 1 foot
sure.
and have the board consider that?
And then that would still fill your need, not to the degree that you wanted it,
Exactly.
but it would give an
It'll give
area.
me the option of at least putting something there where I can put.
Correct, and it would give a handrail a little
Yeah.
closer. That is, again, at our age, very
It would limit
important.
material waste.
Okay.
I would then move that we accept the variance conditioned upon Mr. Simino and the applicant agreeing on the 1 foot and the plans being appropriate and so forth.
Do I have to withdraw the motion, my original motion?
Yeah, we'll withdraw your original
Okay.
motion.
Mhm.
All right, and then,
And are you, this is in the motion form?
This is a motion, I move that we,
well, we could just move to give him a 1 foot variance.
variance.
And that's moving it 1 foot, allowing the deck to extend 1 foot into the setback, into the front yard setback. So the motion would be to
Yes.
grant a variance to allow him to have his deck extend 1 foot into the front yard setback.
Yeah,
Make the motion.
that's the motion. You
Okay, the
second?
motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And it's,
By the way, with the 1 foot setback, would I even have to be here? Or could I have just done this?
Well, it's new construction, so you would have to be here, yeah.
New construction.
It's not an because he's gonna be taking off the existing deck, correct? Yeah, so yes, you'd
Okay.
have to be here, yeah.
Thank you for coming.
and thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Jill, thank you. She's keeping me straight.
It's okay. I try.
All right.
Madam Chair, we're moving on to
We
our,
are moving right along. I think we're right now trying to get our the paperwork for the second one in order. That was just a drive for the second one. And this is the Gishner property. Am I saying that correctly? Gishner? Okay. All right. Madam Solicitor, would you like to talk to Mr. Semino about this?
Mr. Semino, before we begin, I'm going to ask the clerk, Madam Clerk, have all notices, advertisements, and sign postings been done with respect to this application?
They have.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Semino, do you want to introduce this?
Yes, thank you. Madam Solicitor.
Bless
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you.
Application V 445 is submitted by the property owner, Joanne Gishner, for property zone R1, Single Family Residential District. The property owner is seeking a variance from Article 4, Section 140-25A, which requires that an accessory structure be incidental and subordinate to the principal use, which in this case would be a residential dwelling unit. The property owner wishes to maintain an existing detached accessory structure, which is a pole building, without a principal structure, dwelling unit, on proposed lot number 3 as depicted on a plan titled Proposed Minor Subdivision for 31 Woodland Avenue and 28 Central Avenue, 31 Woodland Avenue, PIDN 176.000, County Tax Map Number 134-12.00-560.01, and 28 Central Avenue, PIDN 175.00, County Tax Map Number 134-12.00-319. We'll read through the variance application questionnaire that was filled out and submitted. Number 1, do you have a unique circumstance or condition such as irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of lot size or shape, or exceptional topographical or other physical conditions peculiar to the property? If so, please explain. The applicant responded, this variance request addresses a town requirement which is preventing me from subdividing land as it will result in a temporary condition in which a pole barn will rest on one of the newly subdivided lots before a dwelling unit is built. This request neither depends on nor relates to the uniqueness of the physical land. However, it results in a unique circumstance. I cannot subdivide my land and leave it to my children without expending considerable funds to either 1, remove the pole barn, or 2, build a dwelling next to it, neither of which I can afford. B, is there an exceptional practical difficulty due to such unique condition? The applicant responds yes, because under Article 5, Section 140-25A1 of the Town Code, a pole barn cannot rest on a piece of land without an accompanying dwelling unit, I cannot subdivide my land into 3 equal 1-acre lots and leave them to my 3 children. Without a variance, my only other choices are 1, to demolish the pole barn, which contains property of sentimental value from my late husband and which will not fit inside my home, or 2, build a dwelling next to the pole barn before I subdivide my land into the 3 lots. I cannot afford either option. 2, possibility of development. A, can the property be developed in strict conformity with the zoning ordinance without a variance? The applicant responded no, because subdividing the land will result in a temporary violation of the town code until one of my children builds his or her home on the proposed lot containing the pole barn. Once a dwelling unit is built on the lot, the land will be in conformity with the town code. B, is the variance necessary to enable reasonable use of the property? Yes. The variance is the only way I can subdivide my land for my 3 children without violating Article 5, Section 140-25A1 of the Town Code. 3, has the difficulty been created by the applicant? No, all of my 3 children intend to build a home on the 3 proposed lots. The applicable town code provision is the only thing preventing the subdivision. I will spend considerable funds just to subdivide the land and prepare the lots for development. But the specific provision referenced above would require much more money, specifically to demolish the pole barn or build a home to satisfy that sole town code provision before subdividing the land. 4, effect on surrounding. A, will the variance alter the essential character of the neighborhood? No, the pole barn has been sitting on the property for over 2 decades, and it is set back far away from both Central Avenue and Woodland Avenue. This variance request, if approved, wouldn't change the physical land at all. Also, I intend to live on one of the 3 proposed lots with my daughter. I intend to keep the pole barn in good physical condition as I've done for 20 years. B, will the variance substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use for development of adjacent property? No, this variance request, if approved, wouldn't change the physical land at all, so it could not possibly have any effect on the adjacent land, most of which would be owned by my children after the subdivision. C, will the variance be detrimental to public welfare? No. There is no possibility that this variance could have any effect on the public welfare and would not change the physical property at all. Extent of the variance. A, will the variance represent the least modification possible of the regulations? Yes, the issue arises only due to the town requirement that a dwelling accompany an incidental structure like a pole barn on each lot. The variance represents the least modification possible of the town code provision at issue for this land. B, is the variance necessary to afford relief? Yes, it is necessary. I've always intended to leave this land to my 3 children via equal 1-acre lots. The pole barn was necessary for my late husband to run his business years ago. Now, according to Article 5, Section 140-25A1, I cannot leave 3 specifically planned lots for my children unless the lot of the pole barn first has a house built on it. With all the money it will take to subdivide and prepare these lots for my children, I cannot afford that. All of my children will build homes on these lots, so at some point the lot with the pole barn will fully comply with the current provisions at issue. I don't think that provision was intended to prevent people from subdividing their land and leaving it to their children, but that's the effect it has on me. 5, will the variance represent the least modification possible of the regulations? Yes. See 5A above. Special exception use does not apply. So, the applicant wishes to subdivide 2 parcels of land located at 31 Woodland Avenue and at 28 Central Avenue, which will result in a non-compliant structure on proposed lot 3. While there is actually another way to accomplish the result of the pole barn being located on the newly formed lot 3, not mentioned in the applicant's questionnaire. The Office of Planning and Zoning would like to recommend to the Board of Adjustment that, should you choose to grant this variance, conditions should be placed on the applicant to apply for a permit to construct a principal structure within 2 years of the date of this variance. The results of this Board of Adjustment hearing will be communicated to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
All right. The survey that we are looking at has the pole building. I would assume, first of all, Madam Solicitor, you should, because the question is going to be directed to her.
Okay, yes. Will the applicant come forward and state your name and address for the record?
My name is Joanne Gishner, and I live at 28 Central Avenue.
Ms. Gishner, do you promise to tell the truth or swear to tell the truth before the board today?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Gessner, according to this survey, your house is in the front facing Central? Okay. And then adjacent to it are these 3 extra lots that you have. And one has an L shape where the pole building is. Is there?
Do you want the
do
survey?
need to-
Is it
do
an
we need
L
to see this? It's a very small L shape, but it is an L shape.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
that is
So
the
I
way
just
it
wanted
is.
to clarify that that is the way, so your house is in front of that. Okay, there is no way that the pole building can be demolished, removed? I know you said it's very sentimental to you, but,
Well, one of my children would like to have that. He has things in it, some of his father's things are in there, and his grandfather's.
but it's it's not a necessity at this point.
It would not be a necessity.
Okay, all right.
I'm looking at that, or looking at the proposal that Mr. Semino has suggested here. What is the time frame that you're looking at to move in? I'm assuming that you're looking to move on this lot here, lot 3, which is in the middle, with one of your children. Is that correct? So what is the time frame that you're looking at to move there?
Well, this process has taken almost 2 years for me to get here with the survey. So I think 2 years for me to build a home on that property is absolutely unreasonable. So I'm thinking 5 to 10.
What do you plan to do with are you planning to sell the home you currently live in?
Yes, I am.
With land?
Mr. Semino, from the time an application, a permit application is made to build a new structure, what kind of time frame does a person have to build?
Once the permit application is in and it's approved, then we would,
Can it stay open for some period of time?
yes, you have,
Okay.
the permit can stay open for a year and then you can extend it for up to 2 6-year terms, 2 6-month terms.
6-month term?
6-month terms.
Okay.
What would happen if I didn't build a home in 2 years on that property?
Let me ask you this, what would happen if you subdivided this lot and you left the barn on the 25 Central Avenue?
28.
28 Central Avenue lot, and then your child that's going to get that lot in the middle is ready to construct their home, you'll still own this lot, family will still own this lot, I would assume. You just go ahead and incorporate, you do another subdivision and incorporate that. Now everybody's not up against this tight deadline. Your children will go ahead and pay to have that subdivision and that barn brought into this lot number 3. And then you have no time frame and you can still go forward with your subdivision tonight. So what I'm suggesting, if I may,
Sure.
what I'm suggesting is,
But Ken, she couldn't go, we'd have to have another plan to take to
yes,
the
but
planning commission.
we could, Let me finish.
He's saying, with all
Yeah,
this,
that's what I'm saying, that whole thing together.
What if you were to subdivide,
and she wants to sell
you know, like
this.
this? Okay? This is part of this lot.
It makes sense to me that here,
Now,
you
when this
just
child is
subdivide
ready to purchase the
this
house,
side.
they
This
just
is the lot that ends here.
apply for another
And
subdivision
since this is still
application.
in this.
And then she wants the same
What
section.
he's saying is that it,
And
that,
it's just very
This-
easy for
This
them,
part of this.
these folks,
yeah, for right, we'll leave it as part
add
of this
that
right
layer
now,
into your
because that's the way it
drawing,
is now.
and then you come back
And
and
what he's saying is that
then you subdivide
child,
again.
when they're ready, 5 years from now, buys
The pole will
this
be
piece, the
the
subdivided
bar stage,
piece right here, where
Which
you
you'll
said,
have to use for this
After
child,
this.
is the only
and
person
you don't have to
who
worry
owns
about
the
it
property.
right now.
But she wants to sell this
And then
house.
when
But you
they're ready to build
that's-
If
their
she
house,
sells the house, she
you
sells
just
the
No,
subdivide
no,
it
he's
into
saying
this lot,
he's
and then
gonna
that's
subdivide this
ultimate configuration.
again. So in other words, her property, the subdivision, the way he's proposing it would be here.
I do, I just wasn't expecting to have an alternative plan at this meeting.
Here,
I, you know,
incorporated into that.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've got to take the woods down, I don't know how many thousands that's gonna cost. I might need to sell my house to take the woods down to get that other, the woods is on 1.5.
so I'm suggesting that, for you guys, since you couldn't see the drawing, I'm suggesting that the applicant, because she says she can't subdivide her property, which, in the manner that she wants to.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that she move forward with the subdivision and leave this piece out, erase this, and subdivide.
Okay, yeah.
And now you have your 3 lots.
And then
when
when
this child is ready to build their home, they re-subdivide from 28.
28,
Yeah, but the fly in the ointment is the applicant wants to sell the home at 28 Central Avenue.
At some point, yes.
I'm just throwing a
That's-
suggestion out there, that's
Yeah.
what you
But
guys
but I'm
all
just-
decide what you want to do.
I don't, I'm not sure that, I understand what Mrs. Simonetti said, Semino was saying, excuse me, Semino was saying, that they could, the child, whoever, which of your children chooses to buy this small plot that is now where the pole barn is sitting.
The middle lot.
Yeah, so, but I see your point too. I guess the question is, what's gonna come first? You're gonna build a house on lot 3, or you're gonna sell the
What is gonna
house? That's the
happen
question. Okay, now I see the point.
How,
And I have a survey done with 3 lots, they're all 1 acre, and that includes the pole barn.
Right.
So that's, I mean, so now what, I have to get another survey, so then,
No, you don't have to get another survey, it's all here. It's a matter of turning a layer off of this drawing and removing that line around the pole barn and on the back end and the side end of that pole barn and bring the line across the front. I mean, there's no resurveying needed, nobody needs to come back out here. The data is already here. It's literally a few keystrokes on CAD.
Do you have any idea when one of your children plan to build on this?
my daughter would like to build within the next 5 years,
Okay, so,
and I would live with her
but you would stay in your present house until that.
until
point.
that house is complete.
Which lot is your daughter getting?
Well, she doesn't want the pole barn, but, I'll be honest with
Wouldn't
you.
that figure, huh?
We're not into family.
Even if issues are ready, we don't need to get into that.
She's not tinkering on any scooters or anything, or motorcycles.
So, I guess what I'm saying is that if 5 years from now, your daughter buys this lot, then the question would be, they would have to subdivide this other part, which would incur a cost. What is the cost, Mr. Semino, in terms of what they would have to do then
I would have to ask Ms. Oliver.
for Ms. Oliver?
It would be any surveying fees, any application fees at the time, any recordation fees, with the county, which however many years from now, I can't estimate.
Okay. Well, I think this is an opportunity for your daughter to turn to her brother and say, hey, if you want this.
Come home. I'm working on it. I need you guys to help me. Jeez.
Mr. Semino, is the 2-year condition set in stone Could it be 3 years?
It can be whatever the Board of Adjustment decides. My recommendation is a recommendation.
So, Mr. Simonelli, once these are subdivided, she could technically sell this lot with a pole barn without a house being on it. So I'm wondering, would it be appropriate for a restriction to also that she couldn't sell this to a third party?
I think that would be appropriate.
Very appropriate, yes.
Because, you know, we don't want this sitting there. I mean, if you were inclined to, she couldn't sell this to a third party, well, let me think about that.
She's giving
I am not going to sell
the
it.
land to her children. So I think it could be appropriate to stipulate that the lot for said named child has up to whatever you decide, if that's what you so choose.
I'm saying, because I'm not sure how to make that an appropriate condition without being inappropriate. So.
Well, I just want to say that both of my parents died very young. And I'm just trying to get everything in order. Because I'm not dying tomorrow, but
Hopefully you have many years to come.
yes,
And this will
that's
not
the point.
occur
I'm
as
just
a
trying to get.
Well, you look very beautiful and vibrant.
Well,
so
thank
I-
Can I ask this question, Chip? Like, you said that if they put in, if this is, let's say in 2 years they want to build a house there, build on that, we grant the 2 years. If it goes longer than that, let's say, like, can they come back and reapply for a permit to build? I think you said something about 6 months, that they could continue that on?
The building permit is good for a year, and then we can issue up to 2 6-month extensions.
The question is not that we have to have the house built in 2 years. That we have to have an application to build approved within the 2 year period. Then there's a year after that, so we're out 3 years. And the possibility of 2 6-month extension. So 4 years later.
Okay, but I'm going to ask you for more than that because this has been in process for, I want to say, a year and a half. The survey, and getting here today.
What time period would you deem reasonable?
7
7.
years, 5 to 7. I think 2 is very quick
Well, actually, we're talking 4. With
because I would have
the
to come in every 6 months.
2 years to get the application done, then there's a year following and 2 6-month extensions. So 4 years
So you're at 4.
out. So I move that we approve the subdivision with the condition,
Well, you're approving the variance.
the variance for the subdivision,
It was something.
that with the condition that within 3 years from the date it's granted, an application to build is drawn and approved. Period. That's the motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, we never had any public comment.
Okay.
We're jumping the gun again. I didn't see anyone there.
I say, does anybody have any public comment?
No, I'm good.
Next, pretty robust. All right, so, I'm sorry.
That's
okay.
fine.
No public comment for the record. All right, so we want to hold a vote, or did we hold a vote?
What about
We
the
haven't had the
third
vote.
party?
Excuse me?
What about the third party thing you were?
Yes, another condition that the property not be transferred to a third party.
I'm fine with
Outside
that.
the family?
Yeah,
Okay.
outside the family.
Correct. And we're speaking of the lots that are located off of 31 Central.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, 31
The
Woodland,
lot you're creating.
yes.
So is this an emotion?
That's the
for-
motion.
That's the,
Well,
Is that
Let-
what-
No, wait, let's get real clear.
I retracted that because I don't know that we can really put that restriction. You know, I don't know that we want to encumber her ability. What if she needs to sell it for reasons we can't foresee? So, I'm
All
not
right.
recommending that.
let's
for
withdraw
health
that
reasons or
condition.
otherwise.
It's your intent that they go to
Whoever
your
buys it will
children.
have to apply for a building permit within 3 years for sure,
Right.
no matter what.
Okay,
Go ahead, make it.
we move that the variance be approved with the condition that within 3 years, an application be drawn and approved
For a building permit.
To build.
for a building permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
So
you.
Motion has carried.
Thank you. Can I have this big piece? Or do you need it back?
Yes, you may have that.
Mine's very small.
Yes, you may have
I
that.
have a little trouble reading it.
Courtesy of Miss Oliver.
Okay, is there any other discussion, Madam Solicitor, that we need to have before we adjourn the meeting?
I don't believe there is anything else we need to address. Mr. Semino, is there anything else we need to address?
Mr.
No,
Semino,
ma'am.
anything that you,
No, ma'am.
We'll just need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for
Thank
your
you.
interest and for being here this afternoon.